I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoy this role in the White House because I know that every single day really has been a blessing. That the opportunity to serve for government, it's not just because I worked hard, went to school, got an education. Because so many people came before me who worked incredibly hard for me to have an opportunity to and I kind of take on every degree of grace, to pride, and now I'm standing on the shoulders of these incredible that now there are generations yet on shoulders.
Real fam is Gerren Keith Gaynor, White House editor of politics at TheGrio, and I'm here with the director of the White House Office of Public Engagement and senior director Benjamin. Welcome to TheGrio. Pleasure to have you.
No, thank you so much for having me.
On the job in the White House for a little bit. How are you settling into the role, and why did you take the job, and what do you want to bring to the role?
Well, I was born and raised in Queens, New York, and I came of age in South Carolina. Built my career mostly in local government as a mayor of Columbia for almost 12 years and a state cabinet secretary. I've quickly learned that inside the Beltway is a whole different animal. It's been a month, but in DC, years of dog years in DC, you feel like you've been there for about a year or two already. We have been, I've been pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you, with the number of serious issues that come before us every single day, the quality of the people who are working to address the issues of American families every single day, and the way in which we handle them. There's always a lot to do, and the commitment of the president and vice president to helping solve problems for families all across this country, as the president always says, working to build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. It's the policies are working. So it's been as we say in the South, a baptism by fire. But we've been learning, and it's been a lot of fun.
And you mentioned you were the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina. You were the first Black mayor of the capital city. In your 10+ years as mayor of Columbia, what did you learn about the role of government? And did you ever think that you would end up, that it would lead you to working in the White House and being advising the president of the United States of America?
Well, I hope I get to spend time with you and maybe many of your viewers over the course of time. I will tell you that our tenure was very successful. Had a great run, created thousands of jobs. We attracted billions of dollars of investment. We made smart, strategic investments that helped build a police force that worked for our community, never raised taxes, and created an environment where we were able to create good, high-paying jobs for the men and women who make this city great. I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoy this role in the White House because I know that every single day really has been a blessing. That the opportunity to serve, particularly now at the highest level of government, it's not just because I worked hard, went to school, got an education, those things. I really serve in this capacity because so many people came before me who worked incredibly hard for me to have an opportunity to serve. And I kind of take on every single day, maybe with a degree of grace as opposed to pride, and realize that now I'm standing on the shoulders of these incredible giants. That now there are generations yet unborn who are standing on my shoulders, needing me to serve at the highest levels and create opportunities for younger people to get to where I got to age 40, to get there by age 30 or age 25, because we are indeed raising the smartest, most talented generation of Americans ever. And I've got 2 teenagers in my house who are 10 times smarter than I was at this point. But I am I'm thankful every single day, and realizing that we're put in these positions of honor and authority only for a measure of time. So we have to be really, really effective and efficient about how we use these positions, and that was my goal as mayor, and certainly my goal here at the White House.
And South Carolina, your home state, is having a moment with the Democratic Party. It seems, and President Biden seems to have a love affair with South Carolina. In addition to you working in the White House. You have Jamie Harrison from South Carolina, who is the DNC chair picked by Biden. You also have Congressman Jim Clyburn, who is a close confidant and friend to President Biden. And we can't forget that South Carolina Black voters were so crucial in the primary in 2020. What do you think it is about South Carolina that appears to have the attention of President Biden?
Well, I tell you what, South Carolina has for many years punched well above its weight class. And I'll give a lot of credit, obviously, to Congressman Clyburn, who I consider a mentor. I know Chairman Harrison does as well, and who, yes, the president relies on heavily for advice and counsel. And I think it's smart that he continues to do that. The South Carolina serves I believe, as a true microcosm for society, for American society, certainly. A wonderfully diverse community that has dealt with both the beauty as well as the challenges of what it means to be American, face those challenges head on. The opportunity for a much more diverse set of Americans to play a role in selecting the man and woman who lead the greatest republic in the history of the world is a pretty high task. And I have to really give a lot of credit to the president and to the DNC for making the decision to elevate South Carolina that much more, to make sure that again, it represented the voices of a much more demographically diverse America can have its say early on. So, no, South Carolina's here, and we're here to stay. We hope to be able to provide the intellectual and cultural capacity that continues to push this country forward under the leadership of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
And race and equity has been such a core part of the Biden-Harris administration. Obviously, it's the most historically diverse administration. There have been actions from the administration that have been praised by Black Americans, like the appointment of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and other actions. But as you know, there are some polling that shows that some Black Americans are not necessarily happy with or not feeling like they're getting the full benefits of the actions of the Biden-Harris administration. How does the White House effectively get its message out to Black Americans that the work that it's doing to improve their lives?
Well, honestly, thank you very much for the question. And obviously, I think it starts actually where we are right now. Constant, continuous engagement, sharing. The days of sharing good news, the days of counting on 3 guys who show up at 6:30 in the evening, all dressed in the same blue suits, sharing the same news, are over. Everyone gets their source, their information from trusted sources like TheGrio that they rely on every single day, and it's upon us to go out and share the message of an infrastructure bill that will fundamentally change communities all across this country, removing lead pipes in our communities and making sure our children don't have to grow up with the developmental challenges that's happened all across this country. To talk about the CHIPS and Science Act and how this president has led in a bipartisan way to bring hundreds of billions of dollars to reshore American manufacturing and bring great jobs back to our communities. And so many communities have been hollowed out by policies of previous administrations. To really talk about issues that I believe that a number of particularly younger African Americans are dialed in on. We're really focusing on wealth creation, really focusing on issues around resiliency and what are we doing to aggressively confront this climate challenge, and taking a look at the successes of the Inflation Reduction Act, the most significant commitment to climate, fighting climate change and building resiliency that this country has ever made. We've got to go out and tell the story. And as a politician, I've been an elected official probably for preponderance of my adult life. And they usually try to boil things down to 3 points or 4 points or 5 points when you literally have hundreds of points. You're not even talking about, as you mentioned, the historic appointment of Ketanji Brown Jackson, but also more Black women to the bench than any president in American history. these investments, these strategic investments made in job creation right here in the United States and American countries and American companies has also led to the lowest African American unemployment rate in history since we started keeping data since 1972. But it's important that we continue to share the story, share the messages of success, but also do what my grandmother would say is the most important thing. That God gave you two ears and one mouth for a reason. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. It's one thing to have the success stories. It's a whole nother thing for people to also feel that success and make sure they have an opportunity to access all these amazing programs and legislative successes that are happening because of the leadership of this administration. So it's our job to go out and tell the story. It's the job of citizens to make sure they share with us exactly what they're dealing with, the challenges they're facing. Because I will tell you, there's no more committed group of public servants than those I work with in the Office of Public Engagement and at the White House, who are focused like a laser beam on trying to solve critical problems facing American families.
And you are the most senior Black man right now working inside the White House, which I think is significant because Black men have been a bit of a focus of sorts over the past couple of years. There's been conversations about whether or not Black men are disillusioned, if at all, by the Democratic Party. Is there a particular way the White House should be talking to Black men specifically?
Sure. The reality is that the challenges that any of us face, we all face. And when I talk to my older brother or my friends and others I've grown up with the entirety of my life, or even some of the young men and women, particularly who may have spent time working their way through the criminal justice system or trying to start a business, is that the issues that we're all focused on really are the same. We want an opportunity to fully participate in American life. We want an opportunity to create wealth and prayerfully generational wealth that gives our kids better chances than we had. We want to live in safe and secure communities where our lives and our bodies are valued. And that's why I'm so thankful that even though Congress has not passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, the president has led from the front and pushing reforms using executive authority that is work to make policing more transparent and fair and just in this country. So that's a long way of saying that all the things that anybody wants are the same things that Black men want. But making sure that we're speaking very directly and again listening to the challenges that are unique to Black men. We are the back when you asked your first question. I mean, being the African seed and American son is a unique experience. It just is. It pales in comparison to what my two grandfathers had to do, both serving their country and coming back to a nation that didn't recognize them as a sir or what have you, as they started their careers as barbers, or even the world my father grew up in, but which was a lot more challenging as he navigated his way through the civil rights movement. But some of our challenges are still downright systemic and real, and there are forces out there that very much so want to take us back to the way things used to be. And you're seeing active policymaking, legislating on the state level and local level, and obviously some efforts in Congress as well, that seek to remove opportunity to thrive in American society as a reality for a number of communities of color, and certainly as it relates to Black men. So I think just having really thoughtful, transparent conversations that look to empower all families, and realizing that some of the challenges are unique when it comes to Black men, is something we need to just have to talk about, and something in a conversation as I talk to the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, or Stephen the Horsford, or Leader Jeffries, or Chairman Harrison, or my dear friend Derek Johnson at the NAACP. These are conversations we're all having together about ways in which we can continue to lift up the voices of Black men. I'm excited about doing so.
And last question for you. You mentioned the George Floyd bill and the inability to get that passed in Congress. It was a big commitment that President Biden made to Black Americans. There are commitments like voting rights and policing that have made some Black people frustrated to not see progress on that end, despite the efforts and accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration. How does the White House assure Black Americans that the president is doing and will continue to take all the actions he possibly can to make those commitments a reality?
Sure. I think I would encourage people to, and again, it's very difficult in this cluttered world in which we live, particularly when so many of us rely purely on social media for information. So the vast majority of information we all receive now is via social media, and social media often gives people the ability to have anonymity and reach, oftentimes in which they can even monetize it, and you get bad information. Our greatest strength is going to be making sure we get out and tell the story of the successes that we've had, and helping people understand that while I'm not on the political side of the house, I'm at the White House, that the importance of finishing the job and making sure that the president has the partners he needs in the Congress to finish the job is so crucially important. That the things that we have not been able to do legislatively, and we've been able to do a whole lot legislatively, these trillions of dollars that will flow into the American economy are fundamentally changing people's lives in ways that we never thought possible. $35 insulin for those who are struggling with diabetes, of pharmaceuticals for seniors, at two people making very difficult choices about whether to eat or have medicine in ways that didn't work for their health, happening because of the leadership of Joe Biden. So much more to do. So I'd ask people a fair look at the successes of the administration, but realizing that on this journey towards being a more perfect union, there's so much more work to do. And if in fact we give this president and vice president the opportunity to finish the job, and at the same time give them the tools that they need in terms of additional help in the Congress to move some of these really tough bills forward, we can do it. But in the absence of that support from the Congress and those who might want to even threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America and allow for default, we're going to continue to act. The president's going to continue to lead. He's going to continue to push on the things that matter most, that address the soul of this country. And I'm excited about being a part of it.
Stephen Benjamin, White House Director of Public Engagement and Senior Advisor to President Biden, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.